Hello, everyone. In the name of God, the most gracious and most merciful. Today, we're going to be talking about the topic of what does it truly mean to be a great human being? Is it wealth? Is it power? Is it money? Is it success, achievements? What does it really mean to be great? Before I get into that, I want to talk about our charity that we're doing. So pretty much, guys, for we're doing a Patreon. We opened a Patreon account where we're doing monthly $4 memberships. Currently, we have four people that are donating. At the end of every single month, myself and Ost will be driving out to a local charity. We're thinking mostly, like, it's going to be mostly for children, maybe orphanages or sick kids hospitals, stuff like that. And we're going to give out the money. You guys will record the process so you see where your money is going, and that's going to happen on a monthly basis. But yeah, the link is in the Discord. But yeah, going into the topic of the podcast itself, I'm going to start us off with creating a little bit of a setting. So imagine this: it's in the middle of the Iran-Iraq war. There's artillery rounds being fired all over you, all over the place, the battlefield. The smoke is everywhere. And a reconnaissance unit has become fully encircled behind enemy lines. Their supplies are running out, escape routes have been cut off. Every passing hour is making their survival less likely. Among these men is a young commander named Ibrahim Hadi. So, what are these soldiers who are on the brink of death thinking in this moment? None of them are thinking about fame, their history, their legacy. They're just simply thinking about surviving. However, guys, history remembers moments like these because it's only in these moments that something is revealed, something that a life of comfort doesn't show. And that is when everything is stripped away from you: wealth, reputation, status, and security. The only thing that remains is your character. That's it. You have nothing else. So, what actually makes someone a great person? Right? Society around us tells us that greatness comes from your money, from fame, from power, influence, followers, whatever. We measure ourselves by others, by others' titles and their success. I don't think that's what greatness is. And within both of our religions, Islam and Christianity, that is very evident as well. So today I'm going to use the example of Ibrahim and his story to sort of explain the viewpoint of what, like, the answer to what it means to be great. So I'm going to jump back to the start of his life. He was born into very humble beginnings in Iran, and throughout his life, this is pre-revolutionary era. So not everyone was Muslim. It was very mixed. Some people were a lot of atheistic people. A lot of drinking was allowed, partying was allowed. What are all those things? However, Ibrahim's family was super religious, and his dad was super religious. Growing up as well, he was really close with his dad. Out of all his siblings, his dad favored him the most. They would always hang out. They would always go pray together. All these things. Um, there was a moment in his life at around, I think, 8 years old, where he found some money on the ground, and he took the money, went and bought himself something. He came home, told his dad, like, "Oh, dad, I found money on the ground," and his dad was super pissed at him. He was super upset because, in his dad's viewpoint, taking money that you find and buying something for yourself is an unjust thing to do. You're basically stealing someone's money because they lost it. And as punishment, his dad told him to leave, to get out of the house, to go wander the streets and think about what he's done. So Ibrahim goes out. He doesn't come back till night. And when he comes back, his mom and his siblings are super worried. They're like, "What did you eat? What did you do?" And Ibrahim tells them about how he saw an old lady who was taking her groceries home and she needed help. So he helped her and she paid him some money and he bought himself food. And when his dad heard that story, he hugged him, and it was all good after that. And it was lessons like that throughout his childhood that sort of taught him and brought him to what he ended up doing throughout his life. Fast jumping forward a bit, I'm not going to get into all the details of his life, but at the age of 15, his dad dies. He passes away. Um, it was a really big hit to his family, to himself, and it it was tough. It was really tough because he was super close with his dad. And a lot of people around him said that, after his father passed away, he became super stern, super even more pious and mature. He started working more, trying to help provide for his family and stuff like that. He never really showed sadness for it. He really held that in. Um, but yeah, so growing up, he joined a wrestling gym. He would wrestle, and he got really good. He was really athletic. Like I said, it was in an era where religion wasn't really a major thing for a lot of people. People were drinking, partying, and I don't mean drinking on like a regular basis. It was like bad drinking. Alcoholics were everywhere at the time. In the midst of all these people, though, Ibrahim went to a really religious gym where they would pray every day before working out. Their coach viewed working out as an act of worship. He would say that, oh, when you work out, you're taking care of the body God gave you, so you have to work out with pure intentions. So that became a really big deal in his life. So he keeps going to this gym. He becomes one of the best wrestlers there. It's obvious he has really good natural talent. And throughout his entire time there, he's always bringing in these friends of his. And these friends are complete polar opposites of him. They're complete alcoholics. They're really bad. They're really bad with women. They treat people wrong. They're rude, no manners. And he keeps bringing these people with him to the gym. At one point, the coach is like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you bringing these people? They're ruining the atmosphere." Ibrahim laughs it off and he says, "Don't worry, in due time, like, they'll get better." And he was right. These same people that he was bringing to the gym, who were now finally exposed to a life of religion, who he was taking to prayers after gym hours, they became super pious themselves. They started to convert from their lifestyles, and they thanked Ibrahim and the people of the gym for teaching them the truth of what it actually means to live, not drinking, having discipline in life. That was just another act that he did. Jumping forward to another story of Ibrahim. Um, so there was a national championships. He was around the age of 18 and he was entered there and he beat pretty much all of his opponents and got to the very finals, the very end of the championship. He had one fight left and it was super obvious that Ibrahim was better and he was going to win the finals. However, Ibrahim, he gets ready, he goes out, still goes to shake the hand of his opponent and talk to the guy. And this is from the viewpoint of his friends in the audience. And his friends are saying like, "Oh, like we saw the opponent, he kept, shaking hands, they were talking, he kept pointing at the audience, pointing at someone, they were laughing and stuff." And the fight started. And throughout the entire fight, not once did Ibrahim try to go on the offensive. He didn't try to pressure his opponent, he didn't try to win at all. And this pissed off his friends. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, after the fight was over, they went to his change room. They're like, "What are you doing? You just embarrassed our entire gym in front of everyone." And Ibrahim tells them like, "Oh, I don't really care about the winning. It was never about that. I just like wrestling and working out." And he goes home. understandably, his friends are super pissed off. Like, what the hell? This guy didn't even try. Like, we would kill to be in his position right now, be in the finals, be as good as him, and he didn't even bother trying. And his friends were super pissed. So they go out, they exit the building, and the opponent that beat him was outside celebrating with his family and his friends and everything. And he calls over Ibrahim's friends, and he pretty much tells them like, come over here. I have to tell you something. They go over and they're talking really harshly with this guy, but this guy responds and he's like, "You guys have the best friend. Best Ibrahim's the best person I've ever met in my life." Before the fight, I told him that my mother was in the audience, and I asked him to not beat me in this fight too badly because I didn't want to lose face in front of her. And I also told him how I really like I was only doing this for the prize money because I just got married and was wanted to start a family. And your friend let me win. And that was the reality. That's the type of person Ibrahim was. He didn't care about like if he was going to win and get a title and get opportunities in the future. He heard that this guy's story and he determined that it was more important than his reason to win. And he let the guy win. Now I think about it myself. If I was in that situation, I'd probably think like, well, too bad, you know. I'd feel bad, but I would go win anyway, right? And it's stuff like that that I think sets people apart and makes them great. I'm gonna jump to the back to the end. So we started at the end, we went to the start. Now we're gonna jump back to the end. So the Iran-Iraq war starts. Ibrahim and a lot of his gym mates are, they volunteer to go fight. Ibrahim, his unit, throughout the years of the war, he does really well. His unit gets encircled on a reconnaissance mission, and they're they're running out of supplies. They're in a super bad position. Enemies closing in all around them, and it's pretty much guaranteed death. The only thing they can do is try to hold out until allies get closer, or they can try to, retreat and go hide somewhere in the mountains or in the trenches deeper in the defense lines. And it's in that moment, like I said, neither wealth, nor success, nor achievement, whether you won a wrestling championship or not, none of that matters. All that matters is your character. And Ibrahim showed his character once again. In this moment, he ordered all the remaining soldiers that were with him to retreat and go hide deeper in the trench lines while he held out his post. And they listened to his commands. They retreated, and Ibrahim fought for hours. And when allies finally arrived and pushed back the enemy, they went to the place that Ibrahim was fighting, and not a single essence of his body, not a piece of cloth, no bone, no dirt, no dust, nothing. Nothing was left of his body. He was completely wiped out of existence. They couldn't find a speck of him to put a grave mark on. And that was the end. That was the end of his life. He died saving his squad, and that's how it ended. From the start to the end, he was true and honest to himself and his father's teachings. So I believe in my eyes that we can see sort of the answer to the question in the like what are the makings of a great person? And I think the answer to that is someone who puts the well-beings of others before themselves. It's a very simple thing that we all know, but we never know when to apply it, right? Thinking about the collective effect of your actions rather than, oh, what gain is this for me? So I'm going to bring up some religious teachings from both Islam and Christianity to sort of show this idea. Um, we're both taught to always put the well-being of others before the gain and benefit of ourselves. We're taught not to harm others with our decisions, not to wrong others to get ahead in life. And here's a Quran verse, Quran 3:92. Never will you attain righteousness until you spend from that which you love, and whatever spent, indeed Allah is knowing of it. And from the Bible, Philippians 2:3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. I think that's so on the dot what the answer is, right? Look out for others. Nothing that you gain should affect someone else in a bad way. Which comes to another point. All of us in life, whatever it is, you are going to have a strength in something. In Ibrahim's case, he was super athletic. He was like better than everyone else at whatever he did when it came to sports. And I'll give you guys another example. There was a time in the gym where a rival gym brought their best fighters to come fight, and it was a big deal. It was like a mini tournament level thing, and they bring their fighters. The first few lower fights start. The atmosphere gets super heated. People are arguing, yelling at the referee, and eventually the rival gym is losing every single fight, every single wrestling match. And finally, it's Ibrahim's turn. Everyone knows he's going to win. So the rival gym is even more pissed. They're even, they're swearing, they're, yelling. There's scraps happening left and right. It's bad. Ibrahim steps out of the changing room. He goes into the middle of the ring, and he he doesn't have his gear on, nothing. He stands in the middle, and all he says is, "This fight is not worth us losing our friendship. I will not be fighting tonight." He says a prayer, he packs his stuff, and he gets ready to leave. Right after he did that, everyone else, they calmed down, they apologized to each other, and the collective gyms went out and got food together and had an amazing night just talking as friends. So we see that it within the makings of a great person, the repetitive thing is that you always put the collective before yourself. Ibrahim could have won that fight very easily, brought the status of his gym up, brought his own status up, but it doesn't have any value to him. And he saw ahead of that. He saw farther that, hey, this doesn't matter at all. I'll translate this into some basic life scenarios. Greatness is when you have strength, or you're than your friend at something, or you excel better at it, right? And rather than rubbing it in, getting on the bench press, doing a bunch of weight just to show off, instead you do less, so your friend isn't disheartened. You don't try as hard, so your buddy doesn't lose faith in himself. He doesn't feel terrible about the day. He doesn't feel that he's weak or something. Greatness is knowing that you have social status in a friend group or something, and you use that to include people that are being left out rather than making fun of them. If someone is not really good at socializing, instead of poking jokes at them and using that to make yourself look cooler, you'll include that person in the circle. God gives us our own strengths. And every single strength that you have is a test of some sort. Every single strength it is. Whether you're good at socializing, whether you're good at a sport, whether you're tall, short, ugly, handsome, whatever it is, you have one strength in your life, and that one strength is the greatest form of testing God can do on you. Because it is with that strength that you can show that you either want to do good and achieve greatness in life, or you want to stray further and achieve status. I'll say this one more time. When it is at the very end, when you're lying on your deathbed, when everything to your life has come to an end, nothing other than your character will matter. When everything is stripped away, your wealth, your status, your your achievements, your trophies, when it's all stripped away, all that remains is your character. And when you're dying there on your deathbed, I think achieving a great character, knowing that people around you cherish you for the type of person you were throughout your life, that's a lot more valuable than any amount of money, than being cool in high school and making fun of others or being a bully or whatever it is. And I think that's the reality of it. What makes a great person is the person that is gifted strength, and that person uses their strength to put the collective of the people around him forward rather than bringing anyone down. Even if that means sacrificing and making the hard choices, like letting the other guy win the championship because his mother is in the audience and he needs the money. Like not fighting in the rival gym so that everyone would have a good night and would not hate each other and fight each other and, ruin their friendships. Like when it's at the end and your entire unit is encircled, you send all your soldiers to retreat knowing that you are certainly going to die, and holding out long enough for your fellow squad members to survive. That's what greatness is. And our religions both teach that. I'll repeat the quotes one more time because these verses, like, it doesn't get any clearer than that. Quran 3:92. Never will you attain righteousness until you spend from that which you love. And whatever you spend, indeed Allah is knowing of it. Philippians 2:3. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. This goes into a greater point um, from the last topic that I was going to talk about, how both of our religions, so I'm going to extend this out to another topic. Both of our religions, they teach that society as a whole needs to first put society before self gain, right? So whatever decision you make, it has to benefit society. If it only benefits you, then it's the wrong decision. Um, this might go a bit longer than I wanted it to, but it's fine. We'll we'll do it. So what that in philosophy, so we're going to jump back to philosophy, right? What that does is it creates within society we've created two ideologies. One is the ideology that it's a human ideology. We believe that all humans were born with the need and want to find justice, find religion, find peace, find love, all these things. We believe that it's an inherent thing for humans to want to do. And a great person is someone who cherishes and embraces those starting beliefs that God put into us. An animal doesn't care about justice, but humans, we do, because that's the level of consciousness that God has given us. And then there's another ideology that humans have come up with. It's a corporate ideology. It's a corporate view of humanity, where we believe that humans, our consciousness, beliefs, everything, only come from our surroundings and our history. So we believe that some people believe that we don't have any starting ideals when we're born into the world. We're a blank slate, and just based on our surroundings, we grow up into whatever. So that's like a viewpoint for a lot of nationalistic ideologies and communist ideologies, where they say like, oh, our society is better because our people are, look how much better our people are. We're so much nicer, and that must be because everyone is born and raised into their respective ideals. However, in our religions, we don't believe that. Both Christians and Muslims believe in the human ideology, where we think that everyone was born with a few set values. Like I said, some of those values are seeking justice, seeking worship to God. These are things that are inherently within us, and based on those things, we go through our life, and that's what we believe in. So it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter where you were born, who raised you, whatever it is. At some point in your life, throughout your entire life, actually, you're going to have those deep rooted beliefs in you to where you are seeking these things. And it's only up to you in that scenario, in that situation, to make a change in your life and to embrace those ideals. But yeah, it's a pretty short one today. Our co-host couldn't make it, but I'm sure there's a bunch of religious stories from the Bible that we could have talked about here as well. But yeah, I'm gonna end it off there, guys. Like I said, there is that membership thing on the Patreon. We're going to be creating merchandise for it, so everyone who is going to be a donator will get like a custom bookmark. We might do a hat. I've been thinking. I'm gonna pay for those out of my pocket, but yeah, like I said, we're gonna be donating to local charities. We'll be recording ourselves going there, showing where the money is going. Hopefully, seeing if we are actually changing lives and getting that for you guys to see as well. But yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast, guys. And thank you. Yeah, goodbye.